and welcome back to Rock Talk. I am Tristan Safford. I am your host, and I am so excited about this week. We are just going to have a roundtable discussion of just as much basic information as we can throw out there for you. I do suggest you grab yourself a handy dandy little notebook so you could take some notes, because we are going to be dishing the tea today. So the first co-host I want to introduce is Dave. Hi, Dave. Welcome aboard. Tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Well, I do as little as I can get away with. I do work in a mental hospital. I teach criminally insane students in a hospital, and but I also am a special education teacher before that, and so as well as many other things. I got into rock tumbling a few years ago, and from there I got into lapidary, and so we raise funds to buy rock tumblers for kids who have autism on the side.
That's really, really great. How many have you given away to this point?
The one that we just did last week makes number 25.
Woo!
And
That's awesome.
We do not give away cheap rock tumblers. These are all lower tone rock tumblers that we get from Kingsley North Lapidary. Have to give them a little bit of a plug. They've been very great. Their sales reps are a member of our Rock Tumblers for Autism Facebook group, and they have just treated us very well. And when I order something, they just look, see what they've got setting aside if they don't have it listed, and they just automatically set us up.
That's awesome. Good folks over there.
They are.
For sure.
Absolutely.
The next guest I'm going to introduce today is Courtney. Courtney, come on and tell us a little bit about your background and what your business is.
Hi. Well, I cut and polish rocks for jewelry makers, so I make cabs, and I sell slabs as well on occasion, because of course I always have way too much material that I don't need, and I'm trying to be a little bit more organized. But I have this disease that makes me buy more and more rocks because they're beautiful.
There's never enough rock.
No. I have that too.
That's what I.
You're safe here.
Yeah. So I have a Facebook business page. It's CNS Services LLC Cabs and Stones, and then I have my website, which is cabsandstones.com. So you can find us at either one of those. I admin in several different groups on Facebook, so I'm all over the place.
And I'm telling you, you have to go see Courtney's cabs, especially the ones that she posted the last couple of days. Oh my goodness, I'm just drooling.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, that's the Royal Imperial Jasper, the ones that you commented on. Yeah, they're really nice.
Kind of a pinkish orange that you had going on there.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Thank you.
That is a beautiful stone. The next co-host I would like to introduce is Ryan. Ryan from Glacier Bros. Welcome aboard. Give us a little information.
Hi guys, my name is Ryan, and I have a problem. No, I'm just kidding. Just like she was saying, we all have a rock problem for sure.
Rockaholics Anonymous.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But anyways, me and my little brother own a company called Glacier Bros. We buy direct from the mine, and we cut up different types of gemstone rough and sell slabs to jewelers all over the world through Facebook. So. But yeah, how's everybody doing?
That's awesome.
Awkward silence.
Sorry, guys. I'm a little diverted. I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in the background.
All reading the comment. Yeah, we were all reading that comment.
Yeah, I was too for sure.
That's a good one from Bill. We are here to have a good time tonight, and I'm just wondering if you guys have any new projects happening, anything you got planned, like special big projects or anything like that.
Who's first?
I can't say there's any special big projects, but I'm coming out of the slabbing phase as of tonight, trying to get back in. Matter of fact, I still have my gloves on. I was cabbing when it was time to log on. And so I'm going to start get back into some cabbing for a change. It's been a couple of months. And working on some Australian rainforest jasper that is very highly agatized and beautiful stuff.
Nice.
Ooh, sounds nice. Are you going to show us?
Yeah, did you finish one?
Well, I haven't got to finish. I just started this one just a few minutes ago, but let's see if I can get it where it'll show.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
I love
is
the shield. I love it.
Oh yeah, it is it's phenomenal material. I've had it for probably a year, and just one of those things that you start looking around and thinking, okay. And believe it or not, you can get bored of some rocks, right? I mean, you just do it all the time. So if you're doing, you want to do something different. It's not that you're bored with the rocks, but you want to do something different. So I was looking around, and there's the rainforest jasper, and I thought, okay, I haven't done any of that in a long time. So I picked it up and cut a shield and got it shaped, preformed, and now I'm going to cab it.
I was just going to ask you if you said that out loud about.
I know, right? But it's like anything else. I mean, you get to look at it and think, well, I've cabbed that, and I've cabbed that, and I've cabbed that, and it's beautiful material, but I want to do something different. And that's one of the reasons why we buy so much new material, is we're looking for that next best great thing.
I need more purple stuff in my life.
I love purple stuff. It's my favorite.
Mine too.
Somebody sold me some Charlewhite that I've got to finish slabbing up where I can use it. I don't know if she remembers selling me that or not.
Oh, I sure do. I have my slab hanging out.
That was a beautiful slab, wasn't it?
It was totally beautiful. You picked a great one to send me back. So what I'm doing right now, I know I look totally distracted because I kind of am, and it's just I am writing down names and numbers of everybody that is commenting tonight. I do have a really cool gift that I'm going to give to you, and I'm just going to show you really quick. It is a few awesome stickers to stick on your cool rock equipment. A piece of acid. I don't know. I can't get the color to show up. Everything looks bright white.
Yeah.
Is it calcite?
Yeah, it's yellow calcite from Mexico.
Beautiful. Love it. Fun UV.
This is something that I really love. It is a mushroom necklace.
Oh yeah.
But the base has a quartz point sticking out. So that's going to the person who wins tonight. If
awesome.
You guys stick around, make comments, and we are good to go.
There you go.
Make sure you guys like the video too.
Like,
Absolutely.
Subscribe, and share if you can.
Share. That's right. That's right.
It really helps us
Tell
out.
all your friends. Well, I'm working on several custom orders. I finished one today for 2 Peter site cabs that a lady wanted for pumpkins. And then I'm doing a pendant and earring set out of that green imperial jasper that I've been slabbing lately. And then
Courtney, I need some pictures here.
Do you have them with you so that we can see? We know you guys know we love show and tell.
They're so slippery.
What'd you use for the pumpkin? Oh wow.
Peter site?
Nice.
That is such a fun stone.
It's a gold. So this one's gold and red. I don't know. The color sucks.
Did you cover your
I can
face?
say I've never seen a gold and red one, so that's really cool to me.
You've never seen gold and red Peter site?
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Gold, red, blue.
Yeah.
I've even seen some
this
greens.
is like the gold and the blue.
Tones.
Is that some of the same stuff that you sent me, Courtney?
No. This is
different
actually
slab?
stuff that I bought from Ryan quite some time ago.
Okay.
Oh, the old
And
stock
stashed
Dominion.
away. Yep, stashed away. What I have is just straight up blue and gold. It doesn't have any of the reds and stuff.
Yeah, finding that red and yellow from Africa
It's
nowadays is
amazing.
getting ridiculously hard.
And it's amazing material. But then I had my second cousin. Where is she? Utah? I think she's by you somewhere, Kirsten.
Oh.
She hit me up today and asked me if I could make her a heart. So I got out that Starry Night, that real red with the pyrite and the black that I was showing you guys, and I showed her that, so I'm going to make her a heart with that. So I've got a few customs going on as well as my normal cabin. That's all I'm working on.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Staying alive, you know.
So, Courtney, a question about your custom work. You know, we all start out, we don't know a lot about what we're doing.
Right.
And then you start making some cabs, and people start saying, oh, man, that's a nice cab. And you look at it, of course, I always see the flaws in my cabs that nobody else seems to see.
Yes.
But where do you come to the point that you have the confidence that what you're doing is good enough to do custom work for other people or to sell other people?
I actually started doing custom work pretty early on. I had this lady that I didn't have the confidence in me, but she did. And she just kept saying, can you make me this? Can you make me that? And I'd be like, I'm not sure. Let's find out. And I would make it, and she'd be happy with it. And I mean, I don't know how many custom pieces I did for her. A lot. And then I just, then other people throughout the years, someone would just send me a message and say, hey, do you have any of this material? Can you cut me, whatever. I've got one lady in particular that loves seraphonite, and she's the one I did the Peter sights for. So I keep some seraphonite stashed away just for her, because I know eventually she's going to hit me up and say, hey, can you make me whatever? Mm-hmm. So it just kind of rolls like that. And then I've got on my website, a custom order form where tell me what stone you're looking for, what size you're looking for, what shape are you looking for, and I'll let you know if I can cut it for you.
Oh, nice.
So
you do a lot of that really small, a little finer stuff as well.
No.
Courtney's big freehand.
Oh, you're like me? I thought you did some of that 5, 6, 7 millimeter stuff.
I will not cut anything less than 10 unless you are a very special person in my life, because my hands just can't. My hands are too big, and I'm starting to get arthritis, so it's just too hard to make the real small ones.
Yeah.
So something I seen today, because my husband has arthritis in his hands pretty bad, and he does a lot of manual labor. Amazon sells compression gloves that don't go over your fingertips. And you could probably wear those under nitrile gloves. It might help you just have a little bit extra dexterity.
Right.
And they're pretty cheap from what I seen.
And that's not a bad idea, really. I might try that because I have both arthritis and carpal tunnel in both hands. So cabbing some days can be a little more difficult.
Right.
You use warm water, right?
Well, I'm not tonight because I was too lazy to go back in and refill. But normally, I go in the house, get me a 2-gallon container of hot water, not just warm. Yep. I'll run it out hot, so as it sits and it comes across the wheel, then it cools just enough that I can keep my hands under it, and it does help.
Yeah, absolutely. I do the same thing.
I don't have arthritis, but when I'm working stone up here in the winter in the Arctic tundra, my hands will lock up because it gets so cold. All the tendons in my hand will lock up.
I don't know if y'all saw what Little Dab just said. They have a pair of those gloves and said it really does help.
Oh, nice. I might have to look into that then. I still won't cut the small stones, though.
She's a little chicken.
Can't help you with that. It's not. I just don't like them. I don't
think that she.
I don't enjoy cutting.
How exactly precise that she is on small ones. I think whenever you have a bigger cab, if all the lines are really nice and clean from every direction, you can really tell someone's quality.
Yeah, Courtney is quality. I will tell you that much. This week, I received a package from her. I did order a really cool shaped cab. Okay, so you can see the shape. It's very small, and it is coral.
It's coral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this is she found a piece of coral, a slab, that has really teeny, tiny. So the details really show up and pop in a small cab like this. Right. Whereas if she had used, bigger pieces or a bigger design, then it wouldn't have shown up quite so well. I think you have a very good eye is what I'm trying to say.
For reading her art, she definitely does.
Thank you.
Well, and how about doing precision cabs, Courtney? I'm getting ready to attempt that for the first time. I don't know if you all can see that. Yeah. Someone has asked me to make them a fidget spinner.
That's very cool.
And each side of this is going to need to have, so it's going to be a double-sided stone. I mean, it has to come out on either side.
Right.
And so having to use a set of calipers and be very precise. That's going to be brand new for me. I've not tried anything like that
I almost
yet.
wonder if
You
you
are
could cut out
stretching.
the
I
outside,
love it.
you know, like with a drill press, you know how you would cut out a ring? I wonder
Yeah.
if
Right.
you could cut out the outside and the inside of a bearing and use a Dremel and be able to put steel balls in it and actually make a stone bearing. I wonder if you could do that.
Ryan, get on it.
Probably. Why
Get
don't
on
you
it.
give it a shot and let us know?
I would try. That sounds
See,
fun.
now somebody out there is fixing to take your idea and run with it, and they're going to be a millionaire before we get it tried.
No, because the stone is gonna crack before the metal would still. You know what I mean? But just the concept of having a
Right.
stone bearing,
Right.
that's really cool.
Right.
It's probably how the ancient people did things.
Probably. But
Maybe.
that's going to be really interesting, Dave. You'll have to let me know how that goes.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to, you know, the thing is the 3 stones are exactly the same size as the bearing case, and you just buy the bearings and press them in and glue them in. I actually printed the fidget spinner component on my 3D printer.
Oh, nice.
And so starting to integrate printing 3D components into the lapidary, just something else to try and see how it turns out.
Yeah.
Have you ever cut, well, you have because you do the belt buckles, right? When you cut to the setting,
Yes.
right? So when you do that, do you use dental floss by chance?
No. What would you use the dental floss for?
So, so I learned this from one of my silversmith friends, actually. Anytime she sends me a setting to cut a stone for her for, she sends me a piece of dental floss with it. So the first time she did it, I called her and I was like, what are you trying to tell me? Why are you sending me dental floss? You can use the dental floss, you lay it inside the setting, put the stone in, it makes it easier to pop the stone back out. So you know you've got that nice tight fit.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Pops the
That
stone.
makes sense.
So
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
But it makes
No, but that
It
makes
works
sense, right?
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good trick.
tip number 1 for the night.
Write that down.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and that's what tonight's show is really about, is those tips and tricks and the beginning things to know. That's awesome.
But I thought that might work nicely with that, you know, because you're going to have, I mean, you've got to be real precise with those stones. So
Right. And it's going to be, so what has to happen is the stones, actually it's going to be 2 split stones that are going to be glued together to get the right, because, you know, got to cab those separately to have a different color on either side.
gotcha.
So really this will actually have 6 stones in it when it's complete.
Nice. Oh, I look forward to seeing that.
Are you going to make me one too? I want one.
You want one too?
I do.
You know, that would
if
be
you're making
great.
them.
Yeah, it'd be
If it
great if
works out
everybody
good.
wanted one.
Yeah, if they turn
Um,
out nice, I think we all should get one. I'll even send you some slabs to cut them with.
That's
See, now I'm
perfect.
getting scared. Well, and you asked about, I'll show you something here that I
Find a
did.
new product line.
It could be
You-
patent it,
you-
Dave.
That sounds like a great product line.
Absolutely, patent it.
Nobody's
Quick.
doing it. Never heard
I'll
of it.
tell you
so
what I
you're
did.
ahead of the curve.
This is where a 3D printer really comes in handy. You probably can't, can you see the number on that?
32, yes.
32. And then I have, of course, you know, here's your 30 for your 30 by 40 cab.
There you go.
But when I started the belt buckles, if you start with the size of your cab, when you get that finished and you've done, it's too small.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I kept
little.
working on it. And finally I thought, wait a minute. So I went into I have a 16-year-old son who works with 3D printers as well. And I said, hey, I need a 30 by 40 oval. I need a 31 by 41 and a 32 by 42. And so what I finally figured out was the 32 by 42 was perfect. So I used this to create my stone, and then I get that 15-degree bevel on there.
Yep.
And when you've domed that and you come back, you can set that in the back of those belt buckles, because the way they're commercially made, they're not exactly perfect.
Right.
And then you just come back and you trim off the edge of that bevel a little bit until that slides down in there where you want it. And it took me, I don't know, it took me 10 stones to figure that out.
Wow.
That's a lot of work to figure out something on your own that way.
Yeah.
And really great tip. Find somebody that knows how to do that instead of learning it yourself.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
I wish
really
somebody would
important.
have showed
though.
me how to make plugs whenever we started. I had to figure that all out by myself.
Right.
Well, no, I know how to make them now. I probably made them now.
But that is really important to know when you're trying to do a calibrated stone like that you've got to give yourself 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters, because it's gonna shrink. Yeah. If you start with what the end point is supposed to be, it's just not gonna happen.
Right.
And I think that's the definition of success. All those times you tried, you kept going. It knocked you down, you got up, and you kept going until you got it done. And that's great. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, how do we learn? By making mistakes, right?
Yeah, like nobody ever told me that the wheels would eat your fingernails off right when I started either. I learned that one the hard way.
Real quick.
So, let me tell you
and they take forever to grow back.
Let me tell you a story about that right quick. When I first started, I didn't know to use a dop stick. So I'm in here on the wheel, and I've got this little cab made, a single wheel, and I'm doing all of this number, and I'm doing this. Next thing I know, the tops of my fingers, the nails are all the way through, right? I've got holes in the top, and it's just a very thin layer under there. I thought, okay, I know what I'll do. I will get me some of that fingernail stuff. It's called hard as nails.
Yeah.
And I would brush over the top, and so I would do that, and it would kind of keep those filled in, and it wouldn't do. So I did something really stupid. I woke up in the middle of the night, and my eyes were very dry, and I reached for my bottle of Sustain. And then my wife wondered why I was screaming for help on the way to the restroom. And I'm trying to scoop. I grabbed that bottle, and I put that dumb bottle of hard as nails there on my nightstand as well, and I dumped that in my eye. And fortunately, it is now water soluble instead of the old style stuff. So I flushed my eye with water, but I'm telling you, it hurt. And now we laugh about that, but I'm thinking, a dop stick is a really good thing to learn to use.
Yes.
I still don't use them.
Really, Ryan?
I don't either.
Yeah, because whenever I was making plugs, I had to get used to holding and spinning. Right. Dropping. I did everything by hand, so I got so used to that. Now I can only cab by hand. I don't like using the top stick anymore.
I didn't like them at first either. It took me a while to get used to that. But now, even if I'm doing something like you're talking about, I'll still put it on a dop stick and just hold the stone.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
One hand and the dop with the other.
So hold the stick here and hold my fingers here, and I do one of these numbers with it.
Yeah, I did that today, actually. I was working on a stone that had a big druzy pocket in the middle of it. So I couldn't put the dop in the center of the back of the stone. I had to put it off to the side, so I had to be real careful with that.
Courtney, how do you polish? Okay, because I have, hold on a second. I have this, and this is just a small example of what a dugway stone looks like. You see how it has that open bug?
Yep.
My biggest problem is when I go to put this on the flat lap and I go to polish it, sometimes these tiny little crystals come out and then they get onto the flat lap.
Right.
And then scratch the stone to all heck. So what's your solution to that if you're going around bugs with crystals in it?
Well, I don't use a
Anyone
flat
can
answer. I just am super careful. Yeah, what is your solution, Ryan? Because I'm just, like I said, I don't use a flat lap, so I don't know.
Whenever we were doing stuff that had a chance of having loose crystals in it, so that way you weren't scratching the face of your product like almost towards the end, we would get, say if it was ocean jasper and you would still get little crystals inside of the pockets, we would take the ocean jasper pieces that we were going to cab, we would cut our preforms out, and then we would leave them and iron out overnight. And then in the morning, whenever you come back, any kind of loose crystal that was left on there, the iron out would have separated. So then you just rinse it in water and you cab it. It affects nothing except for those loose bug crystals.
Just a quick note, if you are using iron out, it will take out anything that has iron in it. It's so it could change the color of your stone. I mean, I do that when I'm cleaning quartz. Okay. I just want to make that clear for anybody else.
Bug like what you just showed, it wouldn't affect that stone at all, except let's take the crystals off.
Right.
There's another solution too, Kirsten, and you have a regular flat lap, right?
Yeah.
Mine, what I really love is mine is a flat lap, but I can turn it and slant it. And so I have my water coming in at the top. I cab at the bottom. So as everything comes around and has enough water flushing in it, will throw those bits and pieces off to the side. So you might try, actually, you could make you a couple of pieces of 2x4, cut those at an angle, and slant that up so that you're running on a slant and do the same thing.
Right. So the water is rinsing those crystals
Right.
down. Right.
That's a really good idea. In fact, I'm going to do that. So thank you for that idea.
Yeah, cut you a couple of pieces of 2x6 at like a, probably a 40-degree angle, maybe a little bit less depending on how much you want that, and get it where you can set it that way and secure it, and see if that doesn't help.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Speed, I understand. Courtney always sends me pictures. She's like, "This is my goal for today," and there's 50 cabs moved to 6, and I'm like, "Get it, just get it."
I just sent him one of those the other day. This is my goal for this week. I've accomplished 5 of them so far, Ryan. So I don't think I'm gonna make my goal, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, so I'm going to start checking in with Ryan, I guess, and I'll let you know like what my goals are and if I meet them. So thank you for volunteering to do that for us.
Yeah.
There you go.
So speaking about, go ahead, David. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to ask you, since tonight's show is about learning some of the basics. Kirsten, where do you look at to start with that? And I think that's where you were going to go as well.
It was, yeah. So I think since Courtney was talking about DOPS, I think we should talk about that a little bit, just so that everybody here has a really good basic general understanding of how it works.
Okay, so what I do, a lot of people use nails. A lot of people will buy actual DOP sticks. I go to Home Depot and I spend 73 cents or 29 cents or whatever it is and get one of those 10-foot dowels, 8-foot dowels, 6-foot dowels, whatever size I want it. And I just cut it down. So for 73 cents, I get 10 DOP sticks, right?
Perfect.
And you just make it the length that you're comfortable with. I get some of the little teeny ones. I get some medium ones. I get some larger ones because I do make different size stones. So I'll use different size DOP sticks.
Are you saying length or width? Girth.
Girth. So I make mine generally about 4 inches long, 3 to 4 inches long. I used to make them longer, but as I got more comfortable with using them, I like them a little bit shorter now. And then it's real important so my DOP station, and it's way over there, or I would show it to you, has a ledge on it because it's real important to warm your stones up before you try and put any wax or DOP sticks on them.
Why?
It helps, so your wax is melted. Hot wax doesn't really adhere to a cold stone well.
Right.
It adheres to a warm stone much better. So on Amazon, I got these handy dandy little nail polish bottles, 6-pack for maybe $5. In them, I have a mixture of 50% denatured alcohol and 50% shellac. My shellac is colored because that's all Home Depot had when I went to get it. They didn't have clear. So I'll take that and I'll dab that on the back of my stone, put that on my DOP station, let it sit for about 5 minutes. Gets that stone nice and hot. The reason for the shellac and the denatured alcohol is also to help the wax adhere to the stone. So wax naturally has a little bit of shellac in it. It sticks to itself. Don't look like that, mister.
Oh no, the comment. I read that comment. I'm sorry.
8 inches long, nice. I'm going to be quiet. So the wax adheres to the shellac denatured alcohol mixture. What I found originally, before I knew this trick about the denatured alcohol and shellac, is that I would put my stones on my DOP stick and I'd put them under the water and I'd start cutting them and they would pop off. And they'd pop off.
Especially cold water.
Pop off and they'd
Right.
pop off and it would just.
Right.
And then I was like, well, screw the dop stick. If this is what happens. Well, then I took a little lapidary class, and the teacher taught me this trick. And I've never had I still have one that'll pop off every now and again. But that has really made a huge difference. So you just dab it on, and you don't need a lot. You just dab it on the back, throw it on your dop station, let it warm up, get your little dop of wax, just throw it on the back, and you're good to go.
Now, do you also occasionally add a little of the shellac into your dop as it is aged?
Into the wax, yes. If it gets too thick, if it's a consistency that I don't like, but the wax is still good, yeah, throw a little bit of shellac in the wax itself, mix it back up, and you can use that wax again over and over and over again.
It is the shellac that causes the wax to stick to the stone to begin with. So over time, as you've heated it over and over, that shellac begins to deteriorate, and so your dop no longer sticks very well to the stones.
Right. Yeah. And the wax gets thick and pasty, and
right.
We want to keep it a nice consistency. Don't put too much though, or it'll be runny and funky.
Where do you guys normally get your wax from? What's your main place to get wax from?
I get mine off Amazon.
Amazon?
Yep, and I just search red jeweler's wax because I prefer the red wax.
Oh, the red, okay.
I don't like the green. The green to me is, I don't know, I just don't like it.
All I've ever used is the green from Kingsley North, and it always worked out good for me.
Okay.
So is there only the two colors of wax then?
Oh gosh.
There's black also, there's a yellow.
There's black, there's purple, there's yellow, there's all kinds of different colors.
What does each color, like, does it correspond, like, this wax is good for this type of stone, or does it just not matter?
I think it's a personal preference thing. So the red is actually called jeweler's wax, and it's usually what jewelers use. Most lapidary people will use either the black or the green. I don't know what the difference is between the black and the green.
So usually the red is mostly what people who do faceting use. A smaller amount will hold the stone on and does not spread out as much. And the reason I know that is my dad. Matter of fact, he's sending me his faceting machine. And that's what he used, was the red for that very reason. And then, of course, the difference between the black and the green is one has a greater bond than the other or whatever. I use the green is what I've been using. I may try the black.
There you go.
Or the red.
Yeah, I've always, just from the get-go, I just didn't like the green. Something about it. It came with my cab machine.
Right.
I tried it, didn't like it, and just for whatever reason, just ordered the red. It was, when I looked it up on Amazon, dop wax or whatever, red and green came up, so I ordered some of the red, and I've liked it ever since. So
I can tell you that the green is very peevish about water temperature while you're cabbing. If your water is just a little bit too cool, it'll pop that cab off of that stone.
Right. That's happened to me so many times.
Yeah.
I love Josh Jr. comment about that. Aquarium heater in a 5-gallon bucket with a small water pump.
Right.
Done that? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Keep that water warm. That's awesome. I've got the pump in the 5-gallon bucket, but I never thought about a heater.
Kirsten?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking because I have my water for my flat lap is in one of those pump things. So you have to pump it, and then it circulates the water up through the hose and then drips onto the flat lap. Everything is DIY with me. So I was just wondering if I could get like a heater, like, a prison heater or whatever to call them, that could go in there. That would, but it's got a seal though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how you would get that because you'd have to have the cord coming out. Oh, a prison heater. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Sorry. I dated a
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't think there's a solution for me. So what I do is I get a hot electric kettle full of water and I just dump it in the already cold water out there because I work outside basically. It's in my garage, but it's not, finished. It's almost finished, but it's not quite
What you
finished.
need is a 5-gallon bucket and a pump and a heater.
Yep.
Just say it.
But then how would I get the pressure of the water to go up and over my hose into my flat lap? That's what I'm saying.
That's what the pump is for, baby.
Yeah, that's what the pump does.
That's what the pump is for. So,
right.
So
The
So
pump pushes
it's
pressure.
it's like a pond pump, right? It's a pond pump is basically
Exactly.
what they are.
Yep.
So
It's
you
a
get a
submersible
pond
pump is what it's
It's
called.
a submersible pond pump,
Right.
and there's a certain amount of pressure. You would just run the pump.
I
while
love that
you're-
you guys are
while
teaching
you're
me so
doing
much.
it. I have an extra one. You want me to send it to you?
No, I'll try to find one around here. I'm sure it should be easy to find. I
They're
think
not.
that's
Yeah, just go to. I mean, you could go to really a pet store.
The
Okay.
aquarium section at a pet store.
Any
Yep.
kind of aquarium.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
there
make
every
sure-
day.
Just make sure it gets enough. Make sure it's a pond pump and not an aquarium pump.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Aquarium pumps aren't going to have enough pressure,
It just pumps air.
Oh.
right? Where a pond pump will.
Well, I got to take notes now, so thank you. One of the things
Yeah,
that
the aquarium heater will work to keep it heated, but you need the pond pump to have enough
wait,
pressure.
so I have to buy two things. Okay.
Well, if you want to keep your water heated, yeah.
If you want it warm, yeah, you need a second thing.
Yes.
You got to buy 3 because you got to buy a 5-gallon bucket or find one somewhere.
I got 20 of them.
There you go.
I'm good on buckets. Thanks.
Okay. Josh
Put a
Jr.
pond
said,
pump.
Josh Jr. said he'll make a video and put it on TikTok for you.
Okay.
There you go.
You do that.
And he said he does it for his flat lap. Same thing.
Okay.
Aquarium heaters, $15 on Amazon. He said.
Well, and actually,
Thank
down
you.
underneath down here, I have
Yep.
mine is a really big submersible, and it is like this 40-gallon, these plastic totes that you can get at Walmart.
Right.
And that sits in the bottom of that. You can put about 40 gallons of water in there and just pump, because mine pumps out of a
Tiny little hose, right?
no, mine's the bigger one. I have
Oh, really?
because it's a really old unit,
Okay.
and so I can put that just under a half inch, it's like 3/8
Right.
hose on there, and really get a high volume of water. And that's one of the things to keeping that flat lap clean.
Nice, nice. So, Josh Jr., I have a question for you. Why do you need a lid? I mean, I have a lid, but my lid is literally the top of a cardboard box because I've got the hoses coming out, right? So I don't have a real lid. Is that just to keep debris from coming in? Jaws. Hey, Jaws.
While we're waiting,
He might have
while we're
popped
waiting
out
on
for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
or waiting on Jaws to type in, because I tell you, he's probably typing right now. And he's actually somebody local to me right here in the town where I live. And yeah, he is that.
Okay.
He's that guy that is so good with the obsidian. I mean, he's
Right.
just fabulous.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point about keeping the debris out, because I do
Right.
find before I put the cardboard box top on the top of my 5-gallon, I would get debris in there, and then it would get sucked up into the pump, and then I wouldn't have, my water flow would be off, and then I'd have to like clean everything out and find where the jam is, and it was a pain in the butt. So that does make sense.
Well, and something else to allude to. So this little shop that I'm in right here, I have a heater running over in the corner that I bought at Costco. But this was the potting shed when we bought this house a few years ago, and I swiped it to do from my wife to do this in. And so, I'd have a bucket of water sitting out here. I came out one day to do some cabbing. I looked down the bucket of water, and a mouse had gotten in it overnight.
Yes.
And drowned in there, so you got to change all of your water out and everything. So a lid on that, really great idea.
Yeah. I found a mouse in one of my buckets the other day. It was one of my saw buckets, not my cabbing bucket, but yeah, same issue. And then I found a snake in the other one the other day.
Shut up.
They are not water soluble.
No. The snake.
I love
was
snakes as
the
pets,
snake-
not wild
The snake
snakes.
was alive, but the mouse was not, and the mouse stunk really, really bad.
Did you
Right.
did you save that snake?
I did, of course.
Thank
I
you.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
awesome.
put him outside.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I thought you said save as in like put it in a jar.
No, like go.
Thank you. Good job, Courtney.
No, he was just a little baby guy, and he was actually in my soapy water bucket, so I was a little concerned about him. But yeah, I got him out and took him out front.
So
He likes snakes.
I wanted to show you here. I have this little thing here that I got from Highland Park Lapidary.
What was that?
See, it has a hole in the end of it right here. And then I have these boxes of screws. They're just a wood screw. They're about an inch and a half long, maybe something like that. And I can take that and put it in there, and there's a little Allen wrench that you tighten that down with. So I have gone, because I had so many problems back at one time with the DOP station and the DOP wax. I thought, okay, I'll try this. So I started using these, and I simply put a drop of super glue on the back of my cab, and I set that on there, and I leave it set. Now, one of the drawbacks of this is it takes that a little longer to set up where you can use it than what it does DOP wax.
Okay.
And but some of the stones that I do are really big stones because I make pop sockets.
So when you say a little longer, what does a little longer mean?
I let these set a minimum of an hour, and sometimes even then it won't set long enough because that's kind of sealed up inside those threads. So if I really want a good bond because I'm doing a bigger stone, I'll leave them set overnight.
Right.
Keep them where it's warm.
Yeah,
you can do it, Yeah.
I do that even with wax, yeah.
The nice thing about this kit right here is because, the way that works, you put that in and you screw it on, so you're always changing. So I can go over here. You can see my bench. I've got 20 of them over there with the screws already glued onto them.
Yep.
But then if I need a little more clearance because I'm working on the wheel, I can just slide that off.
Oh, nice.
And I have a smaller diameter, and I have a little more clearance around the wheel but this is really nice with the arthritis. It's a rubber. Yeah. And so, I think the kit was like $30 at Highland Park Lapidary on their website.
Did you have to get used to not flat spotting whenever you started using that? Because it's so big, you have to rotate it more?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and that's where that's really nice that handle coming off that way.
Yeah.
And allowing you to work.
Bad. The big piece,
yeah.
I would think that would flat spot a lot. You know what I mean by flat spotting?
Yeah. Right, especially trying to do your girdle.
Yeah.
The girdle was especially, so I can slap that off of there and I can get closer to my wheel now and keep that where I need it to be for my girdle while I polish that girdle. And so with this on there, it is a little less clearance. And so, yeah, but otherwise, it didn't take me long to adjust at all. I went from using dowels to using this. And because I didn't understand at the time about the cold water and the DOP wax and all of that, I was just frustrated. And so, but now I'm going back to using both. If I want to do something that's a little faster, you can throw some DOP on there. I've got the DOP pot that I bought from Johnson Brothers Lapidaries, where I buy my wax and stuff from. And little giant pond pumps actually create warmth. They're magnetic motor. Submersible might not need a heater at all. Have to keep that in mind.
Giant pond pumps. Nice.
Yeah, write that down, Kirsten. Don't forget it.
I'm going to write that.
I know.
Did you write that? No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little giant pond pumps, if it can create heat for you and you don't have to buy a heater too, might as well save the money.
Right.
Absolutely.
I just got freaked out just now because I heard a noise in the house I haven't heard for a long time, and the heater just kicked on.
Yay.
Oh, it's getting cold outside. So I am looking at the current Kingsley North catalog, and it says that a pound of DOP wax is about $20. If you buy in bulk, you get the discount. Right. How long will 1 pound of, because to me that seems like a very lot.
A year.
A really long time.
Yeah.
That's not something you have to buy often.
No.
Right, like Zam. You just buy it randomly.
I think I have bought DOP wax in 6 years twice.
Right.
Okay.
Probably
if you're using nothing but Zam on like a mop type brush head, it'll last forever. Right. You can make a stick of Zam last forever if you use it on a
I've had the same stick for 7 years. Yeah, and I use it on everything I polish.
Right?
Well, it's kind of like using cerium oxide. It's the same way. I think in 4 years, I've used a whole tablespoon of cerium oxide because it just lasts for so long. You make a little paste out of it, brush a little on the wheel, and you
put some more water in it.
Spray a little water on it. Yeah, and it just lasts for a really long time. And I think I've bought a 1/4 pound of it, and you can't even tell where I've taken it out of the bottle in the 4 years I've had it.
So I think that's a really good point. With a lot of these things that we as lapidary need to use, you're gonna it's a one-time buy, maybe twice,
Right.
and so it will be worth it in the long run. Absolutely. I just use nails and super glue. I'm old school.
Well, and nails
Or
would
my
work
fingers.
exactly for what I'm doing as well. Yeah, absolutely.
That's new school.
You go through saw
Is
blades
it?
more than anything. Saw blades.
Saw
Whatever
blades,
works.
yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Two a month.
Saw blades is
Go
the
through
thing
two a
that
month.
everybody goes through. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, I finally did get. I know I talked last time that I had to order a new blade for my 10-inch, and it finally came in. I wasn't able because nobody had the thickness of a blade. I'm tired of when you get into something because of the speed that it runs through the blade. If you have the thinner blades on the 10-inch, you'll get some deflection and sometimes a little curve out of that stone. And so I wanted something a little bit thicker because I cut a lot of really, really hard materials.
Yes.
And so I went to Covington and ordered this one, and I'm anxious to get it on my saw. So finally got that in. I'm waiting to see. I mean, it looks like a nice blade, and so
First
we'll
time
see.
ever.
Yeah, you'll have to
You
let
and
us
me are
know.
opposites in something for the first time ever, Dave. We agree on everything. With saw blades, no. So listen, we bought our Highland Park 20-inch, and it got the agate eater. I mean, it has to almost be a 1/4-inch thick. You know what I mean? So every time
Right.
that you cut a slab, you're losing a slab almost.
Right.
So we buy
Right.
Highland Park, and they are a 1/16 of an inch thick.
Talking
And
about
we
the
save
green one?
so much on material. Yeah, we don't use the green one anymore.
No?
No, that's an amazing blade. It was amazing, but we use Kingsley North, their brand of actual saw blades, and they're fantastic. And they're
Okay.
so inexpensive. Why go price? Go
I
price
mean,
Yep.
that.
Give us an idea of the price difference.
Okay, so the
Because I'm getting a new 10-inch saw.
Cost me $200 ish. I pay $30 for my Kingsley North ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you like them better.
Yeah.
What?
Do they last as long, or do
So of course it's not. You're talking 6 to 8 months on Highland Park one, cutting all
Right.
day, every day. They have
Right.
replaceable notches that you can rehammer in,
Right.
and everything like that. I don't know. I would rather go through 2 Kingsley North ones in a month and save all of that product. So much product that I save on blade thickness comparison. You never see
Okay.
deflection marks on any of our slabs or anything that we cut where there's like weird wave grooves.
Right.
Right.
They make a really good blade, and as long as you know how to align your blade on your saw, whatever saw that you have, as long as you know how to align your blade, they are fantastic. They
Okay.
really are for the amount of money that you pay for it.
Right.
Right.
Well, and the problem with the thinner blades is most saws have a feed that is set to a regulated speed. And sometimes you'll go to cut a material that is harder, and maybe you need to be able to slow that feed down to keep from getting that blade deflection.
Yeah.
And that's where I love my old 14-inch saw. It uses water pressure as a feed, and I have a dial, and I can dial that right down to 2 or 3 pounds of pressure. If I wanted to sit all day, take all day to cut one slab, that is the smoothest cutting saw that I have ever seen. My 10-inch Highland Park that I just set up, with that little, because it came with a very, very thin blade. And the feed is just a little too fast for how thin that blade is. And I would get actual deflection that when I started, I would be up against the blade on one end, but when it finished the other, I would be, a 1/16 of an inch away from the blade when it finished, because it would deflect that much, because the speed
wow.
is too fast for the how thin that blade is.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I would be pretty upset. I've never had the Highland Park do anything like that to me ever.
Right.
But
Right.
they have that 3-pulley system to where you pull the bottom pulley up, and you can change the speed on the saw whenever.
Right
you
now
want
that
to.
the 14 and on up you can do that. Mine the one I had that problem with is the 10-inch, so it has a set feed on it. It's the electric feed. Yeah, and so, and that happens, and you might even, it can even be a thing of maybe one time the feed on one, when they assemble it, it is set right, but maybe the next one, the electronics aren't regulating as well, and so your feed will be a little faster, give you too much pressure. If I'm cutting softer stone, not a problem. But if I cut that really hard, like turkey agate, wow, I get a lot of deflection out of it. So I'm going to this thicker blade and see what that does for me. And I hope, not real expensive material. And it's a thin enough blade, I won't lose a lot, but a little bit more than what I like. Yeah. So something else to consider, if you're looking at the basics, consider the stone you're cutting, how expensive it is, how much you're going to lose to the width of the blade.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, if you guys are cutting agates or really hard, high varnish jaspers or obsidians or glass, you might want to go with a thicker blade if you're cutting that kind of stuff all day. I mean, we cut agates and stuff, but I'm willing to use a blade for a week straight on an agate, take it off and throw it in the garbage and put a new one. I'm just willing to do that. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
And I'm a cheapskate. So I have an MK blade on my 14-inch that I have pinged that blade more times than Santa Claus has left presents, I'll tell you. And honestly, I put that MK blade up against the Black Label Highland Park that I'm using on my new 16-inch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry on what I do. That Highland Park has just cut circles around that MK blade. It just does all day long. But I think it's the difference in the way that they're segmented, and the oil and the way that it cleans that blade as it goes around. So if you need that oil to be thin enough to allow it to get in there and actually keep that clean and keep it lubricated. And the MK blade doesn't do as good at that as what that Highland Park blade does on those two saws.
Yeah.
My experience.
Guys, I'm sorry. I have to step away from the camera for just a minute. So I'll just have you guys keep everything going. I'm sure. Just don't talk about anything important until I get back.
When she gets back, we're going to find out that she's been out with the skill saw cutting a couple of pieces to set up her slant lap.
Yeah, right. Ryan, why don't you talk about the UV stuff that you were going to tell us about?
There you go.
Oh, okay. So I know that we had been talking about UV lights on the last show. So I brought mine with. It is a Convoy C8. We didn't really get to talk about actual models and things like that last time, but
now I got to look at what mine is.
Convoy C8. Me and Andrew. Yo, Andrew, how many of these do you think we went through before we actually settled down on this one? Probably 10 different ones. Probably 10 different ones before we actually found the one that we really liked.
Right.
What I love about this is we do fluorescent solar light hunting in the Upper Peninsula. And when you're on the lake, most of the models you just have to shine out in the water. I could put waders on and walk out and shove my whole fist in the water with this in my hand, and it's not going to do anything except for shine light out of it.
Nice.
It's completely internally waterproof. It's two 18650 rechargeable batteries, those are great, and they're cheap, but the ones you get with these are really nice. But these filters that they have on here are the brightest out of anything that you can get. What kind of these are you using, Kirsten? Did you have a Convoy?
Oh, mine is, let me grab it. It's right here. It is from
Convoy C8 right here.
Where are you seeing that? No, okay. So this was a gift to me from Eric, Uperlite guy.
Oh, no, Eric's great.
Eric, yeah, he's a really awesome guy. So I just know it's an N365. And it has rechargeable batteries, which I love. So it lasts, one battery charge can last like multiple trips.
Let's see if I can get this to.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So now tell us why, Ryan.
Okay, so what's happening is you're taking a UV light spectrum with a filter on it. And whenever it hits the light is refracting around inside on certain types of crystals, and it's outputting a different color spectrum image to the iris of your eye, and that's what you're visually seeing is that orange. But we have a lot of different things. Like, you guys ever play with onyx? Like this beautiful flowering tube onyx? If you shine this stuff, it glows, crazy glows.
Right.
But what's happening with the onyx is the light is getting trapped inside of the banding layer, and it's bouncing around in there rapidly over and over and over and over again. So initially what's happening is that light is getting trapped inside of there for an amount of time. So remember how they made like kids' toy plastics back in like the 90s where you could turn the lights off after you had held it up to the light and it would hold a charge to it?
Yeah.
That's essentially what that was doing at a molecular level, is the light molecules are just bouncing around back and forth. Well, you can do that with stones too, and a UV light. And if you've never done that in person before, it'll take your breath away the first time you do it. I'm telling you. We have had onyxes, like root beer onyx, where you could use a UV light in the dark on a big piece and write your name in it, and it would stay there.
Nice.
In the dark. Well, it's just cool. There's
Right.
a
So
lot
now-
of fun you can do.
Jaws just said he uses the same light that you do, Ryan, and the calcite glows pink. What does this do for you in the rock and mineral and cabbing or collecting rocks? What does it actually do for you in that aspect?
So say that if you were out collecting, can you see a charge?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people really
Phosphorescence.
like the
Yeah.
fluorescent lights or rocks. So there's a whole market for that too.
Say if you're not a person if you live where we are, that's good at finding agates. Like if you're not good at actual physical going out and identifying stone to being able to rock hunt, this can bring rock hunt enjoyment to people who aren't naturally good or trained at doing that kind of thing, or not even taught to do anything like that. All they need is this, and they need to go to a beach at night and walk and have fun. Or a dirt road, train tracks anywhere.
Right.
But that's what I love about it. You don't have to have talent or knowledge to be able to do that. You have to be able to shine a flashlight and walk.
Right.
You're
Right.
getting exercise. You're having fun. You're doing things with stone. I mean, that's half the fun of it, is the search for me whenever we go rock hunting. But I like rock hunting for crystals and copper and things like that.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll have to get me one of those. I've been meaning to get one and try it. I've read about the Uper lights, stuff like that people really started using the UV lights with a long time ago. And I have some what is called Uper quartz here. I have about 8 pounds of that. I started slabbing the other day. And so I'm thinking, okay, if it's the same thing, I may get a light just to play with it and see what it does. And maybe I'll go out to the Willamette River and start cheating at nighttime. Then again, it's a good way to get arrested around here, walking out in the middle of Oregon with a flashlight of any kind.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
lots
Ryan,
of thunder. Oh, ma'am.
Tell little Dab what's the model of your light is again.
Convoy C8.
Yep. Yeah. That's the same
My
as the
husband-
light I have.
My
It's a
husband got-
N365.
My husband got me a lumen shooter for
I have
Christmas
some-
last year, and I don't know, he did all this research, and it is also an N365.
Well, you ask him what those little lumens ever did to him.
Kingsley
That must
North.
be,
Kingsley North sells these.
yeah.
So does Eric at uperlights.com.
Yep, Eric's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
So when I first started getting really into the fluorescent minerals, I picked up this little light from Home Science Tools. It's about $40. It's super duper cheap, but it's portable. It's a flashlight. You can take it with you. It's got long wave on one end and then short wave on the other. It only works within 6 inches, so it's not something like the the N365 that you can take out and shine it on the ground standing up. This you actually have to be right over the stone, but it is a shortwave light that gives you the full spectrum view. So it's a very cool tool for someone that's just getting started. It's got a little switch there that goes from the short wave to the long wave. But it is a battery killer. If you buy this, you need to get rechargeable batteries.
Have you used that on your Tiffany stone before, madam?
Oh yes, it's gorgeous. And you know, I wish my camera here could pick it up. I was trying with the other light. I just my setup here needs to get adjusted. But this other light, this is what's called a scorpion light. You can see all the little LED lights in there. It is a black light.
Because the carapace closed, right?
Okay, it's a black light, but it is not on the proper wave to see correctly with like you would this style flashlight. So it's going to show the colors are going to be different, and it may not even show the glow. So these are $10. They're useful for calcites. That's about it.
So completely different wavelength spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see people asking these questions all the time about the different flashlights. And honestly, if you just go onto mindat.com, you can look at the different fluorescent minerals, and you can see the different wavelengths that you can see at. Yeah, I think Courtney had to go have
yeah, it was that time.
Take off.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We can finish up the show here with just the three of us. That always works just fine.
One of the things that we talked about earlier, about maybe talking about just a little bit, is the Mohs hardness scale on a lot of the rocks that we collect, and how difficult it can be for some people to figure out how to perform that test.
For me, it's really simple. I take a quartz crystal, and I don't know. I have a lot of different ways, and I really wanted to get into this, but since we're at the hour mark, I don't think it's fair to our viewers to really get too into depth with this. But sorry,
Well, let's save
I
that
think
one
that's
for the next
something
show.
we'll save that for the next show.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You could almost have a whole show just on hardness and showing different types of hardness and hardness.
Yes, absolutely.
And things like that. So.
And why the hardness and
Yes.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I do. I have like this whole like spiel thing here, but it's gonna take me at least 20 minutes to go over. So I really don't want to do that tonight. But I do want to do a giveaway. So for everybody here that was commenting and hanging out with us, I did have, one thing I didn't show was, if you can see right here, this is
Agate slice.
it's an agate slice, but it's, what is it called when it has the rainbow in it?
Iris.
I'm having a brain fart.
Iris.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is an iris agate, and it does show full rainbow. So I am going to have one of you pick a number 1 through. Let me double check and make sure I got everybody here. Really.
I think it's Ryan's turn this time. I chose the last one, so
Did you? Okay.
yeah, I did the last one.
Between what and what?
We 1 through 6. Roll the dice.
1 through 6. 2.
Okay. Number 2 was Bill. Bill, contact me on TikTok. You know how to do that. Send me your email, and I'll send you your package. You just won this for hanging out with us tonight and talking with us. I did notice over here when I came over to the comments, we do have a few questions. It looks like Lil Dab will do ya. Said, can you use a regular tile saw for cutting slabs? I will say yes, because that's all I've used. Ryan, yeah, good job.
Just be careful. You definitely can use one.
Right. There's the right blade and the right way to do it, the right kind of a saw.
Yeah, I always tell people that you can use a tile saw like to cut a piece in half. It's just really hard to get a tile saw to do like accurate slabs. You know what I mean?
But you can. but you can, and it just takes practice.
Yes.
And just make sure that you're being safe. Do not use your saw backwards.
That's right.
I see a lot of people out there promoting this backwards saw use. No, do not. You will end up getting hurt. You'll ruin your blade. You could break your blade. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. So, but yes, all I use is a tile saw. I'm pretty excited. I am getting my first professional piece of equipment for Christmas this year. It's going to be a 10-inch tile trim or a 10-inch trim saw from Highland Park. So I'm super stoked.
Oh, the
that.
HP, nice.
Did you get the agate eater?
No. Yeah, no, that one comes with a little bit different blade because that 10-inch trim saw that they sell, if it's the one that I'm thinking that you're going to get, is more almost a commercial production saw.
Yeah, so I can cut, slabs of Tiffany off my little nodules, anything 4 inches or smaller. And then I can also trim up my cabs so that I have to show you guys this. I've been talking about this for weeks. So I have the belt buckle with me in question. The one that I made, the very first Intarsia I did 7 years ago that my husband has worn every
the terrible
day.
drop one you were talking about? Oh, that doesn't look bad. I like it.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
Okay, for a beginner, yes. So
I think it's
I wouldn't say that for a beginner or anything. I mean, that's I like that.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Amazing.
I was expecting you to roast me.
It could be arranged, but not on that.
Okay. Oh, what are you going to roast me about then, bud?
Well,
Start doing this?
Where do you start? Okay,
honestly, guys, everybody, if you get a chance to go to Utah, Cheerston is the person to stop. You want to make sure and get to stop and visit with Cheerston. Maybe do a little rock hunting like I did. You'll have a fabulous time.
Well, Deb is 32 miles
yeah.
from Grand Marais. It sounds like we're pretty close to each other, actually.
Thank you.
Tile saw's how we started, too. So I can say nothing.
Right.
I can say nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great way to start, to get your foot in there, to see if it's something you want to keep doing. And then when you can afford it, you spend $1,000 on a new saw.
Tile saws do kick up a lot of dust, so please wear a mask.
Right.
Please wear a
Yep.
mask.
Make sure you're using water, just nice,
Eye protection.
clean water. Eye protection is good.
Definitely eye protection. Yes.
Don't wear gloves.
Nope.
And you can still touch the blade. It's fine. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to cut your finger off.
Right.
But you want to make sure you're using a continuous diamond blade. You do not use any diamond blades that have holes or cutouts in it.
No.
And
Don't.
yeah, it's not like a wood cutting saw. It's more like a grinder if you think about it. It's just using
That's
that
what it's doing,
diamond
exactly.
to grind.
Yes.
And you don't want to push too hard. You want to let the water in the diamond do the work. So it's a
If it feels
gentle
like it's
push.
taking forever, don't get impatient. Just take your time.
Right.
Yeah.
Hard stones
and
that you be cutting
Hi,
a little
Ahmed.
agate and just taking your time. It might take you 5 minutes to get through. It'll be worth it. Just have patience with it.
And the right blade is important because a tile saw runs a lot higher RPM than what a slab saw does. So you need a different blade that is designed to run with water at that RPM.
Okay, so I do want to point out they sell glass cutting blades. You do not want that.
Not the right one.
It
no.
will not cut through jasper. Right. It will not cut through agate. You'll just waste $30. Go ahead and get a continuous blade that I usually buy the DeWalt 30 or 7-inch, and it's $30, and it's got so the way it's set up, it's got the diamond on the outside, and then it's got the diamond on the two sides. I have several videos that show how you can use the diamond on the outside to shape your cabochons.
Right.
It works really, really well for that. But, it all is a learning thing. You have to just spend your time practicing and making mistakes and learning.
And what's nice about using diamond ingrained like that, you can use a dressing brick and use it over and over and over and over. If it starts getting dull and not cutting good, you just take your dressing brick and run it through there once, and it's all sharp all over again. You just go right back to work with it. So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I'm spoiled. I've never owned a tile saw. My wife's not happy, but I own a real. I own. What can I say? You get to the age where finally you're just able to do a few things that sometimes you couldn't when you were younger. So to those people, if you're starting out with a tile saw, use it. Just be careful. But eventually, like Kirsten's doing and like Ryan has done, like I've done, I started with an old cab mate where you had to swap the blades and the wheels and everything every time you wanted to do something different. And eventually you come to the place where you've saved or you've sold enough cabs, whatever you do, that you get to buy the piece of equipment that you actually want. It may not necessarily be better quality in some ways. I mean, you'll get more accuracy out of it. You can shut the lid and walk away where you can't do that with a tile saw, and that's kind of nice. But those are the things that come with some time. And so, start out with what you have to. Just use it wisely.
Just fall in love with lapidary, guys.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
And lapidary people.
Yes.
Oh, we are such a fun crowd, for sure.
Hot crowd.
Yeah, so as far as investments, I think a tile saw or a regular trim saw or a cutting saw, that's going to be very high on that list.
Right. Yeah, the last one I got, I have my 6-inch saw. I have 2 of the 6-inch saws that we went through before. I started with that Rock Rascal. I'm not happy with the quality of the Rock Rascal like they used to be, and I replaced it as soon as I could. Had I spent $150 more, I could have gotten the Highland Park 6-inch, and it is a world of difference, not only in the quality, but the way that it cuts. It has the blade like you're talking about. Kirsten, Highland Park makes a blade for that one, and I can turn that right up against the edge of that blade, and I can trim almost right down to my line. Never hurt that blade, never hurt that saw because of the way it's designed, and it's made to do that. That's what theirs are for, and so I really enjoy that. So I have 4 of the Highland Park saws now up to 16-inch. I have 2 of the 6 inches, the 10 and the 16. And if I can ever get rich like Ryan, I'm going to buy the 24 and the 36.
Nice. We did have a question. Lil Dab wants to know, where's the best place for used equipment? So I would get on estate sales. I would look at rock clubs. I would look at Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Anywhere.
There's literally a used lapidary machinery groups on Facebook that you could get on.
Right. Yeah, there is the lapidary marketplace that you can look, and it's mostly used equipment.
There's a lot of it out there.
Ty Lampf, he does have a lot of refurbished equipment, and that might be someone to look into on Facebook. I'll put his name over here on the side. I think a lot of us know who it is.
Cigar Box also has a great reputation for rebuilding equipment that they sell at a pretty decent price. I haven't dealt with them personally, but I see a lot of people who have, and they recommend them still also.
David, do you know Ty's business name?
I do not.
I don't remember it either.
I don't either.
So you can look him up on Facebook. I did put his name into the comments here. Joz says, Idaho Rock Shop has a lot of used equipment. Usually any rock shop is going to have used equipment. Any rock club is going to have used equipment.
Right.
But I will tell you the absolute best way to get rocks and equipment is estate sales. So you just want to keep an eye out for estate sales. You can contact them. You can call them. You can say, hey, do you guys happen to have this? Yeah, you can go down and look. I know in Utah, estate sales, rock estate sales are a huge thing because it's such a big popular hobby here in Utah, whereas like probably not the same in Colorado or wherever you guys are.
In Oregon,
Oregon is pretty big. Yeah.
And if you're really going to fall in love with lapidary, when you go to those estate sales and places, if you find, say somebody has 2 trim saws and they want to make you a package deal, buy both trim saws. The nice thing about that is you might be cutting different materials. So you can have one trim saw with a very thin blade, another trim saw with a little thicker blade. Depends on what you're doing. And then you're not having to go and swap blades before you can do your work. That's why I own multiple trim saws. You might find a couple of cabbing machines that are used. Same thing. Don't be afraid to buy a lot deal on that stuff. Maybe you can resell what you don't need, but think about your needs and what you might use them for, even as two of the same thing. I wish I had another cabbing machine right now to do another 4 wheels on over the 6 that I've got. It would be great benefit because I would like to put on the 8 through the 50 or 100,000 and not have to worry about swapping out wheels on stuff.
Right. Now, and with the wheel machine, that's on my list for next year. After I get this trim saw, I want to be able to cut cabs faster so I can make them faster on my lat. It's very time consuming when you have to constantly switch out your lat discs. So I tend to do batches of like 20 different cabs at a time. And I sell all of my stuff through an art gallery in Wyoming. That's how I've been doing it for quite a while now, and I'm very lucky. But I would like to start selling again on my Facebook group, Rock and Raccoon, Rock and Mineral Market. But I just don't. Have you guys noticed that there's it's fun to make, but then selling is very hard? Have you noticed that?
Tedious.
Have you guys felt that?
It is for me. It's a tedious chore with all the photographing, trying to keep everything updated, constantly turning over to something new, and on top of that, 99% of the cabs that I make, I look at them and say, no, I like that one too much to want to sell. That becomes another issue.
I guess it's easier for me because I share the load. Andrew does all the techie stuff. Anything techie is Andrew. Any of the pictures posted online. He comes to me, he's like, hey, where's this from? What's it made of? I tell him all this stuff about the stone. He just goes and types it out and does it. That's really how it is. That's why we work so good together, though, is it really breaks it up for us. He loves being on the computer doing all that stuff. I hate that. I love interacting with people and talking to people, teaching people about things. Well, what did that say? I missed it. I missed the comment.
I do not people sell very well, so selling is difficult.
Oh.
Somebody else said they want to build a cabbing machine as well.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a lot of DIY stuff, people doing their own.
Right.
I don't know. I'd love to sell.
Yeah, so, I have a problem with pricing things. So, just take this for example.
You read my mind.
This is a very, very beautiful cab. And, how would you know what to price that at? For me, that's just so hard. I know what the material is worth, but figuring your time and, all that information, I guess you price it for whatever it sells for, right?
Yeah, and I guess it depends on the platform you're selling it on.
Right.
But with high-end stuff like Jim Bone, I don't know. I'm not afraid to put a big price out there on the right kind of stuff. I'm not. Like Tyree, ask him. Go ahead, go ask him about pricing differences on bone. If it's worth it, it's worth it. You get what you pay for in the stone industry.
3 years ago, I sold a Jim Bone, a dinosaur bone, pop socket for $100, and it was just gone just that quick.
Nice.
Other things, I have a heart. I'm like you, Kirsten, and you exactly read my mind. I'm thinking we need to one time do a show and bring up the pricing structure and how to do this. The biggest part, most people will sell them by the gram, or they'll start with a gram price and add in their labor, whatever. And I have a difficult time with that. And so, what should I be selling at?
I think that would be a great topic to bring up for another show. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
so we did do our.
I had a half little vertebrae of an ichthyosaurus from Volga River, Russia. The pyretized.
Is it
bone.
pyretized? Nice.
Yeah, and we sold it for like $1,800. A half polished vertebrae. It just depends on what you have. You know what I mean? It just depends on what the material is, how rare it is.
Right.
If you could certify where it's from, all of that stuff matters. It really does.
I think it's good to bring up that it helps to have a group of 3 or 4 people that you absolutely trust, that you can go to and you can say, hey guys, I need help with this. Can you help me? Building that circle is so key, I think, to growing in the community.
Well, and I'm hoping so. Coming up on one of our shows here in the next 3 weeks, I have Brad Newport from We Got Rocks scheduled to come on here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. They've just moved into a new home, so they're unpacking. And he does that. He not only does live shows for Rough, he sells anything that you can imagine that is made out of stone and every type of stone. He actually has a factory in not India, but the Philippines
Indonesia?
as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the Philippines, and so he's really good at understanding how to break down the prices when he makes something, and to get that per gram or that per pound price out of it. He's really good. So that could be one of the things that maybe we could ask him when he's on.
I think that is excellent. I think that is great. So with that being said, do you, Ryan and Dave, have a final message to our audience for the night? Because it is getting quite late.
We've been a long time, haven't we? Just come and give us some love. Like our videos, repost them, tell people about us, tell people what we do, and hopefully we'll grow pretty soon. If you have questions, send us some questions.
Yeah, if you definitely send us questions, guys, because we're always talking about in our group about what we're going to talk about on the next show, what to bring up. We would love to have an entire show where it was just what you guys want us to talk about.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big part of why I like to bring everyone's comments as much as I can onto the screen, just so that we can all feel like we're building a tight little community here. So that's what we're going for.
Matter of fact, I would even like to see maybe occasionally we pick someone out of one of our audiences and have them come on and come talk with us on the show. Wouldn't that? I think that would be really fun.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, I'm going to take you off the screen real quick, and I'll see you in a second. I want to say thank you to everybody that came on today, everybody that participated in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed to us, please do that and hit that bell so that you know every Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we get together, we hang out, we talk, we invite guests on. We try to learn what we can of what's going on in the lapidary and rock hounding community. And I just want to thank everybody. Bill, congratulations on winning tonight's giveaway. Everybody that participates, is entered into that chance. So with that being said, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend and keep on rocking.